You're listening to Big World Network.
Amazing Grace, Episode 5. Written by James Hellvig, read by Meagan Hedin. Graduating ceremonies. A bittersweet day, the end of one thing and the beginning of another. Tammy looks at the gathered crowd, seeing the large knot of friends that are her family right up front. Anna is smiling brightly, whispering to Kat and joking with Dale and her grandmother. She's grown so much in 3 years. 9. Where did the time go? Anna's got more family now than she knows what to do with. Soccer, martial arts, sleepovers with a dozen squealing girls her age. A full and happy life. Tears threaten to overwhelm Tammy, and she shakes her head angrily. Shit, stop this. It's not like you'll never see them again. Faith and trust, remember? Wiping her face, Tammy straightens her back, proudly walking across the small stage as her name is called. Her group is by far the most boisterous in attendance. Accepting the certificate, Tammy steps to the podium to speak. Looking directly at Anna, she says, I want to thank all of my family for coming here tonight. Without all of your love and support, I wouldn't be here. Many people have asked me what kind of pastor I'm going to be. In fact, most people ask twice, just to make sure I know what the job description actually is. Tammy smiles, rolling her eyes. Around the room, people laugh. The only thing I can tell you for sure is that I won't be conventional. I don't know how. Anna and Kat shout, Hoo-yah! I can't believe she taught her that. Chuckling along with the crowd, Tammy continues. In this profession, people speak of rebirth and miracles. I personally can attest to their reality. These things exist in the form of individual kindness and acts of trust and faith without precondition. In my experience, miracles take work and dedication, as anything worthwhile in life does. I tell you all of this because you never know in what shape or form your miracle might present itself to you. Anna, sweet and wonderful girl, you are mine. I stand here tonight, united with my family, because of you. Tammy's eyes tear and she opens her arms wide to encompass the silent crowd. All of us affect each other. It took the love of one special little girl for me to realize that simple truth. If that isn't what being blessed is all about. Voice failing her, Tammy blinks back the tears blinding her. As she steps away from the podium, the crowd erupts into thunderous applause. Anna is there along with everyone she loves, surrounding her, hugging her, hooting with joy. I don't deserve this, but thank you. Thank you. Walking along the Cape Fear River Trail, holding hands, each lost in thought, they enjoy the mild North Carolina evening. The scenic spot is a favorite one that they've all hiked many times. Dale and Kat stroll slightly behind Tammy and Anna, the slowly setting sun casting sparkles of light across the nearby water. So, Mom called the other day. Maybe coming back for a week or 2. It's kind of weird, like it's more for her, you know, Anna says conversationally. Tammy nods in agreement. The pattern has been well established. The old anger still simmers, but its edge is dulled by the knowledge of Anna's extended family. Brenda has opened her heart and home to all the numerous soldiers and their families that have come to include both her and her granddaughter as adopted members. Dale and his family, Kat, and others are especially close. I did a Google search. If you get that job in New York, it's only a couple of hours away by air, Anna says, looking at Tammy. She is trying to be very grown up. Angling towards a bench facing the river, the 4 sit, scrunched companionably together. Tammy wants to pick Anna up, but restrains herself, saying, We talked about this, baby. You have your phone, and I'll call you every day. We'll see each other often, I promise. Blinking back tears, Anna crawls into Tammy's lap, hugging her hard. Pinky swear? She whispers. Kissing her cheek and hugging her fiercely, Tammy tells her, This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I love you more than life itself. You are always going to be my girl. Dale is trying hard to look stoic. Kate unashamedly has tears coursing down her face. They understand. All soldiers do. Deployments suck. Tammy and Anna sit rocking each other until they've cried themselves out. Wiping noses, the three females watch the senior NCO try to pretend he has no such sentiments. The wet streaks on his face say otherwise. Kat elbows him playfully in the ribs. "Let it out, tough guy. We won't tell anybody." Harumphing in response, Dale replies, "I'll have you all know a nasty fire ant stung me. I kept it away from the three of you. It was huge. Might have killed a lesser man." Smiling and wiping her eyes, Anna says, "Uh-huh. If that's true, Uncle Dale, where's the body?" "Yeah, Dale, where?" Tammy chimes in. Looking affronted, Dale snorts indignantly, "I ate it, of course. You bite me, I bite you." Anna snickers, saying loudly, "Ugh, you're so gross." Laughing together at the smug-looking man and good-naturedly teasing one another, they watch the sun slowly set on the horizon. Driving to New York gives Tammy the needed time to collect herself and reflect on her decision. The truth was simple. While there were problems in the smaller community she was leaving, they paled in comparison to the large scale of the slums where she was headed. She'd been in metropolises all over the world, but never lived in one as a civilian. Driving into the city proper an hour before full dark, she's enchanted by the massive buildings and the diversity apparent everywhere. The traffic she could live without. The GPS blathers directions to the motel, and she follows them, paying close attention to the streets and landmarks. She had already done a detailed area study before scheduling her interview. Now, with 3 days left, all that remained was a good old-fashioned human intelligence, physically walking the area and interacting with people. Not so different than a military operation, at least not for me. I wonder how that wig is going to hold up. Pulling into the establishment's parking garage, Tammy stretches in her seat, feeling her stiffened muscles groaning in protest. A good night's sleep, and the work begins. With her dirty belongings strapped to a luggage cart, a frumpy woman trudges slowly down the early morning street. Worn-out vehicles line each side, covering the trash along the gutters. A bus, belching black, sooty smoke, rumbles by, laden with night-shift workers returning home. Even the graffiti looks dingy. Most of the tired faces are Hispanic and black, with a smattering of Anglo and Europeans mixed in. The ancient nightly rituals of predator and prey have mostly ceased. The dealers, prostitutes, and gang members have packed up their wares and gone to bed. Coughing into her hand, hacking and spitting loudly, the cart-pulling woman puts her hands on her knees, wheezing for breath. Around her, the crumbling apartments and small businesses are beginning to wake to a new day. From her bent position over the cart, Tammy keeps a close eye on her neighborhood, checking out the footfalls amplified by the tiny receiver hidden in her ear. Keep on going. The ERs don't need the business. The young man, closing in quickly behind her, adjusts his course to angle around her instead. Tammy relaxes. Having been assaulted twice in the past 58 hours, once by another homeless person, and a few hours ago by a young thug looking for a thrill, she was ready to wrap this up and head back to the motel. Using a camera and recorder hidden in the bottom of her sippin' jug, she had taken hundreds of photographs and recorded snippets of voices to build a summary of the multiple players in the neighborhood. It was incomplete, but it was a start. Resuming her shuffling gait, she begins the roundabout trek that will lead to a nap and a much-needed shower. Parking in front of the church, locking her vehicle and scanning the streets on both sides, Tammy smiles. There were good people here, hard-working, struggling, poor people. All they needed was a little hope. Don't we all? Heading up the steps for her interview, she stops at the entrance and takes a deep, calming breath. What will be, right, God? Not getting an answer, she sighs aloud. Then, pushing open the door, she mutters, "Okay, then." The inside of the building is clean, but clearly in need of repair. A young, harried-looking woman named Sue leads her to the office for her interview. "Good luck," Sue says simply, knocking on the door. "Thank you," Tammy replies. From inside they hear, "Come!" Tammy enters the room to find two people waiting for her. She sits in the chair provided, and after an exchange of pleasantries and introductions, the interview begins. A grizzled bear of a man is leaned back in his chair with a smile, eyes twinkling as his stern-faced, lanky Mother Senior grills Tammy expertly. "You've no real seminary experience," Mother Steele states in a tone that embodies rebukes given to children the world over. "No," comes Tammy's monosyllabic answer. You are aware, Miss Fuller, that the position here is tenuous at best. We have little in the way of resources. What is it you hope to do here? The dismissal is clear in her voice. Tammy looks at the ruddy-faced priest in charge of this multi-denominational church. Catholic and Irish, she files away. He is clearly amused by the exchange. Smiling wolfishly and leaning forward, Tammy tilts her head to one side, voice dripping sarcasm. Clearly you have an overwhelming number of resumes to sort through. Shall I wait outside while the two of you work through them, or would you prefer to call me later? Standing, Tammy is pleased to see the color rising on the antagonizing woman's face. Coughing roughly to cover his chuckle, Father Bernard leans forward in his chair, shaking his large hand in a negating gesture. Just a moment, Major. Tammy's eyebrows raise slightly in surprise at the use of her former title. Yes, I did some checking. There is surprising little to see on you, even in this age of information. Father Bernard shrugs and then continues. So, I will state the obvious. You chose to make a radical change in careers and retrained yourself in record time. Impressive. Now you come here of all places. He opens his arms wide to encompass the shabbily furnished office. My only question is why? Standing erect and looking first at the priest and then at the dedicated nun, Tammy answers, I didn't really change careers. I'm still a soldier. I just have a different commanding officer these days. I've always gone where the fight was the most difficult. I'd say this parish certainly qualifies. A small smile plays at the corner of Mother Steele's mouth. She stands, clasping her hands together and punctuating her next words. The pay is abysmal, the quarters horrid, and the hours maddening. When can you start? Smiling openly in return, Tammy replies, Is in the morning soon enough?
You're listening to Big World Network.